I don't think anyone in Kenya gets it. So what did I do? I took my best designs, I redrew them now clear, put them in an envelope. I wrote a letter to Nike. I think I sent an envelope to Nike. I think I sent to Reebok, to High Tech. I think I just sent to the big brands at the time. Adidas, let's see, because I mean, could find the addresses online. So me, I just ombered money for stamp and I sent. And that was it. And it kind of faded off. So I think now music started kind of taking a bit more of my time. And I think after my convos with Bart, I started realizing maybe it's not going to happen. Then one day I get a letter. My dad brings me an envelope. It's from the US and has the Nike logo. So I'm like, snap. Oh, snap. I open it. So there's a letter from their head designer. And I don't know where that letter. In fact, now that's things gold I should frame. So the letter, he responds. In fact, there's a time I was doubting if that event happened. You know how sometimes maybe you would have wished something so much. It's with our age. So my sister told me, no, I remember the letter. I remember. So I said, so it actually came. So at least I verified that recently. I have proved there was another witness. So the letter came, and then the guy told me, this is amazing work. You're starting out, but because of your age, you're still young, you're still a minor. But what you need to do first, you need to go to college, study this stuff. Here's a list of colleges you can explore in the US. What you want to study is industrial design, and then it's special. So I don't know who that guy is, but he just took his time to explain to me, and then he said, yeah, so if you ever come, well, basically ukimaliza shule hit me up. I tried the America route, UK, it never happened. So, but I don't know why I stopped, but that thing just faded. But that was something. But I think some of these moments in life were turning points in terms of probably what has made me. In fact, it's funny you said that. I've remembered about the piece in terms of the business side. I remember I enjoyed, and now I've come to embrace it over the years, that you don't have to choose one career or be defined by one industry or craft. Because I also am fascinated by business. I'm fascinated by stocks. I'm fascinated by finance. So I realized, no, I don't have to choose one. You can still...
When I interviewed Modoni, it's what she calls a polymath. Somebody who you can do you don't have to be one thing, you can be multiple things.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, first of all, that Nike story is insane.
Yeah, I need to tell you a story, another story that was a momentous for me. I think a lot happened when I was 16. So when I was 16 years old, Kenya Airways were doing an IPO. I'm trying to remember because I've realized I'm going to tell you that I had money and I didn't tell you how I made the money.
I know.
So in high school, there was, if you're in boarding, the Britannia biscuits, the biscuits called Britannia. I think they're called Barring, the fancy one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a box had like 320 pieces. Each cookie was sold for $1 in high school. So it was like what cigarettes are in prison, the hot commodities. So my dad used to give me
very little. It was noodles.
Oh, noodles, nice. So my dad used to give me pocket money at the beginning of the term, and that was it, like 200. He used to say that's for an emergency, so you can come home. See, I paid fees, you're given food, so there's not much. Of course, it was not enough to do the stuff that I wanted. But I used to see there's a guy in school who used to sell biscuits. He would buy a box. If I remember, a box was 170 bob. But remember, in a box, there are like 300 pieces. So if you sell at $1,
you're good.
That's some serious, almost double. And then the boxes varied. Some boxes will be 320. That was not, production standards were not consistent. So I used to see, but he just used to keep the box. He used to eat some, then sometimes he sells. So I used to say, man, this thing is quite a business. So one time, I was given my normal 200. I said, let me try. So I bought a box. I sold that box by the next morning. By the next morning, I was done.
You are double.
So I have like 350. I'm going, this is abnormal. Now the problem in boarding, how do I buy?
How do I restock?
So what you do is, I joined CU because CU used to do, on Sundays, you'd go teach Sunday school. So every Sunday I got a gate pass. So every Sunday I would go buy a carton, sell it. Buy a carton, sell it. And so I used to save well. So over time I started building a capital base. So now I could buy 2 boxes. So at that time I was buying 5 or 6 boxes. Then I had agents in every dorm. So what I would do in every dorm, yes, I would tell them, fine, this box has 320, 330 pieces. You sell 300, keep the rest, 20, 30 bob. And this is a no-brainer. You open that box, 5, because in the evenings when people are taking hot cocoa, hot power, 5 bob, you want cookies. So 2 nights you're done. Because at Dome, I mean, Dago was huge, big population. So then they would keep, most of them would eat actually. It was really weird. I mean, they would literally keep the cookies. They were happy to keep the cookies. They would give the money to me. So I had a good run. So, I mean, I used to, in fact, I'll never forget one incident. My family came to visit me for visiting day. And they usually, you guys want sodas? Yeah. I went and bought sodas and brought for them. Then later, he said, my dad asked, "Sweet, how did you pay for this?" I said, "Don't worry, I got it. I got it." He told me, "So do you want some pocket money?" I said, "Sure." He gave me I think 500. Now I'm being given a bit more. But I'm telling you, there's a time, there are days I would close school with up to 7,000.
What?
Yeah. Up to about 7,000, Bob. Then there's an advert. No, the advert story is different. That's another story. But there's so I had cash, had a lot of cash on me. Now, at this same time, I'd been reading about stocks on my own, just understanding how financial markets work. So Kenya Airways posts an IPO. And I think a share, if I remember, was probably 12 bob or something like that. But I know I had 12,000 shillings because I wanted to buy 1,000 shares. So I got the forms.
You're in high school?
I'm in high school. I'm 16. So I get the forms and then I submit. I go pay and I apply and I do everything. And I drop them at where Nairobi Cinema is currently. I think it's called Uchumi House actually. There's some broker companies there. So I go and I apply and I leave them there. And that's it. And I say, let me buy now. Let's see. I mean, I'm in no rush because I know stocks. Then I get a call back. I think they called my dad or they called my sister. I think my older sister had a phone because mobile phones had started coming out. So they call me back. They say, "Hi, how are you? What's your name?" The person talking to me now, like how you talk to a kid. So I'm saying yes. They tell me, "Okay, this is so sweet. How do you know about this? Do you know what shares are?" I say yes. "Do you know what this?" So they asked. And they tell me now, unfortunately, in Kenya, you must have an ID. So sorry, you have to come back for your money. And everything. I think, okay, sawa too. And that was that. At the time, I didn't even know. I should have pushed my dad and told him, buy, find a way. Yeah, but that was but just to show you, for me, those days.
Almost 10x, in fact, more.
I mean, so much. But at the time, it just shows you, for me,
where
there were no limits. Me, there was lebu we try, we see. And there's a time in my life I'd lost that, but it has come back. So nowadays, I'm always like, let's see. Worst is they'll say no. I mean, it's not a life or death. It's meetings, it's a call, it's an email. Then work out, hey, it happened. And I think that kind of led me, and that's probably the kind of confidence that gave me to go to a studio and say, "Hi, I want to learn. Oh, what will it take? Or what does someone need to know to learn?"
From your story, that's the most mind-blowing thing. You're, I don't even want to call it a go-getter. A go-getter is almost like a person who's over-hustling to get something.
Yeah.
You're a trier.
Yeah, I would say probably. I don't even know if I'm a go-getter. I think I've just been curious. I'm curious. So if I get an itch, I just start seeing how far can how far can this go? So Born Twice now, we've started doing the performances and everything. The rap community is emerging on this other side.
Holidays, you're still going to Samawati?
Yes, still going to Samawati as often as I can. Then now after Form 4, now we are like, it's happening.
Because you've got that gap here now.
That's gap. We've done, those days we used to read magazines called Sound on Sound Mix, because we'd get them in the studios lying around. And that's how I started learning. So I learned production, I learned sound from reading magazines, articles. Someone saying, how they recorded this song for Michael Jackson, or how they did this song
the YouTube of the days.
The YouTube of those days. And then it was very technical. So they'll say, we use this microphone, we use this mixer. In the studio, we did this keyboard, we did that. So starting to understand. Yeah, so you have to read those magazines. So there was Sound on Sound Mix. So around this time, I think Timo has started working at Samawati. I think he probably started working before me. I can't remember. But I remember immediately after Form 4, my first paying job was, I used to work still at Lavington United Church. They had a bookshop. So I was the bookshop attendant and everything. That's when I learned what invoices are. I learned what receipts are. I started understanding there's a thing called tax, because now I had to do paperwork. Someone pays, you have to fill in a receipt. And I remember another lady, a very senior church member, she was like the patron, because she was in charge of that department. She's the one who would tell me, so raise a pro forma. I say, what? And remember now, I'm 3 weeks out of high school. I started working, so I finished KCSE like in November. December, I'm already working.
And what happened? Did you just go and say, I want to work?
Yeah, I told them, you guys, I'm bored. But the reason I wanted to work, the keyboard was in charge.
It was all
so
that
I needed
goal.
to be, yes. So every day, it was a bookshop in a church. There's no activity during the week. So what would I do? I would chop my skills on that. Then in the afternoon, I go to Samawati and tell them, now I've learned how to do this, now I can do this. And then Lavington Church, because the community really supported the youth, we always had cutting edge. So a keyboard comes up, we get it. PSR 500 is out, give it 3 months. We'll convince them why this other one has a problem, and they would buy. And so we really had good gear in a sense and stuff. So
that church was very supportive.
It was amazing. That's something, still today they still do amazing work on that end. Now, because I'm reading all these magazines, at the back there are classified sections with equipment. So I had a budget for a studio. I think I needed something like 350,000 to set up a full studio. So now I have to look for money. So that's the plan. So now I have to look for jobs. Then at some point, I meet Peter Odera. I meet Peter Odera at one of these events for our community. Peter Odera is starting out. They had a group, the one they had with Ted Josiah, what was it called? Heart. So they're performing. And I listened to Ted Josiah, I'm saying, I know. That sound is not normal.
Uko backless.
Yeah. Hey, it sounds like Teddy Riley. The beats, the groove, I'm there like, that's the guy we need to know. So Ted knew he was hot. So Ted had enough time for people, everyone. He was good looking, the ladies, what. So we could only talk to Pete, because Pete was the guy who was, he was in ministry, he was outreach, he was always a big-hearted guy. So I think Peter Odera introduced me to a guy called Maurice Oyando, because Peter Odera was next door neighbors with Maurice Oyando, and Maurice Oyando had a studio called Next Level Productions in Woodley. So they shared a fence. So Peter Odera and his nephew Liki Odera, events extraordinaire, live there. So it's Peter Odera, Gowi Odera, Liki Odera, next door Maurice Oyando. So Maurice Oyando is Talia Oyando's dad.
Yeah, for those who
may not know. So he has a studio there. So I go there the first time. It's in a container, but he's making music with a computer. I'm saying, what is this madness? All this time with a keyboard. Samawati is just keyboards, and they do a lot of live music.
Yeah, and reel to reel.
I understand the keyboard, you do the beats. But here now, oh my God, I can see the music. I can move it. I can. And I said, I'm not boarding, I'm not leaving. And I said, I don't care. I'm gonna work. I don't want a job. I will do anything. So Maurice tells me, Sawa, come. Maurice is a really cool guy. So it's not even like Samawati hired to camp outside. He tells me, come. Oh, and then because I'd been at Samawati, see, I knew a thing or two. So I could enter and say, yeah, I know how to connect a mic. Yeah, I know what these things are. I said, okay, you seem a bit handy. You can come. There's a guy called Alfie Minjire. So Alfie actually not even until recently. So currently Alfie is a chief engineer for MultiChoice Kenya and DSTV. And before that, he was at Standard Group. But before that, he was a sound engineer. He taught me everything I know about sound. I've never met someone with a perfect set of ears in this country. Actually, even out of this country. It's the best ears when Alfie touches anything to do with sound, it is abnormal what he does with it. And it doesn't matter the gear. Because I've seen him fix things with the cheapest equipment, and I've seen him use the most sophisticated. In fact, it's just that I think at the time music didn't pay. But let me tell you, Alfie, I don't know.
And he's fixing this problem that you are having. How come our music is not sounding like...
So it's the first time I go, and then I hear this. So Peter Odera records there. Then there's another chick who comes by who used to be in our primary school. Her her name is Wahu Kagwe. So me, I remember her from Primo. So I'm saying, Wahu, you've become a musician. So Wahu used to record with Peter Odero. In fact, on his first project, I think she was there, so she was older than me. But me, I know her from HHS, Nini. But she's starting out trying to learn her singing thing. But I'm not even understanding what's cutting. Then another guy comes he's called Eric. He needs to do a project who is now Eric Wainaina, but it's just a guy called Eric. He comes, Kanji used to pop in once in a while. So me, I didn't know who these guys were.
So what year is this?
This is the year 1999.
Okay.
This is 1999,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm there hanging out, and then so Eric Wainaina he's in Berkeley. So we begin to talk. He's a really cool guy. We hit it off. Now I can actually run a session. I can run the studio. So what Alfie would do, he would let me track vocals. Then he would come and now do the mixing. So he'd always throw me, tell me I need to go to town because he was much older. Then he'd let me do this. So I would say he'd give me the donkey work parts and just edit, do what you can. So editing has just started out. So I'm beginning to learn. So Eric Wainaina comes. So we record Sawa Sawa. So the Kenyan sections. So
yes.
Macharia is on it. So a couple of people. And it was an amazing experience. And it was the first time I met someone who is studying music professionally. Like it's a thing that you're studying songwriting, production. But I think at the point, I guess I still had a heart to go do it. But those days going to the US was insane. Even now it's hard, but it was harder then. Because everyone, it was the only ticket out. And then the only place had music was KU, and it was Mozart, Beethoven. I was saying, man, that's not going to help me make beats and create Bad Boy. So the reason I'm doing all these things, my plan is to raise money. So now I've learned the game, set up my studio,
become
do our
Bad Boy.
thing, yeah. So I think at this time, I'm not sure if Timo had started working at some, I think he had, because now me had joined here. And you see those days there were very few studios. So you'd find even some projects, Eric would come do some sections here, others he'll go do at Samawati, others he'll go do with Bruce, like that.
Then there's a story that I feel is missed out.
Yeah.
Virgin.
That came later.
Oh, it comes later.
That comes slightly after that.
Okay. So,
no, you're right. Actually, we did that song at Next Level. You're right.
Oh, that means it's in this era.
It's in this era. Actually, that's when we did that song.
At Lavington Church, what I'm hearing is that there was beats that could be made, but there was no vocal recording.
Yes.
And Virgin has vocals.
Yes. So Virgin, that song, what we did, we created the beat in church, but recorded the vocals at Next Level, I think at night. So I think I called Timo, his sister Karemi, and me. And I think that's how we did that song. At night, usiku wa manane, because we had to do it after hours.
In this day, we're living in a time of lightness and looseness. You can see it in many realms of life. There's such lightness and looseness in the world as we've entered into this age of sexual liberation, or some people call it. Sin is now considered acceptable by some, as long as you're an adult and your sin doesn't hurt anyone else.
Safe sex is a lie, straight from hell, to try and get you teenagers inside the bed. Cookie freak, killer socks, no DVD who make shit. Cookie freak, now socks, Bible who make shit, haha.
Virginity is impractical nonsense. Then you brag about your experience. How you fool and run from the consequence. Boy, you just come and try and shake with confidence. Try and play a sick game on my conscience. Tell you what, and I run out of patience. God's word, there lies my evidence. Quit sitting on the fence. Go find your honor in obedience. What is man or except for common sense? And what do you think I call him omniscient?
Well, I'm sick of my poly on the beats. Trying to prove to the world that Jesus, you can't stop me from saying this. Cause I be talking just like the tambourines. Turn up the radio to these. Having sex as a word in the music biz. And the radio biz and the book biz. On the TV in the movie scenes. How could you say that on this release? Cause I'm not afraid of the Pharisees. You Sadducees, help me please. Break down the devil and his wicked schemes. I get down on my knees like Jackie Bees. Read the word, read the prayer, and then I get keys. Ways to stay behind the
best. Not afraid to tell it the same, cause you're a mission from the highest. This time, we're coming around, talking about the issue of sex. And very many of us are saying, ain't nothing wrong with death in the bed. It's okay, it's alright, we don't have to wait. Cause if you wait until right then, you might be dead. Can't you see? The devil got you wrong, misled. He lied to you, telling you to help with my sex. You went ahead and find yourself and now you're so depressed.
Non, y'a les d'argent, père, je rimbouille. Et ma sœur ne permet pas un courant de jupon. Grâce à ta virginité, d'enregistrer ta personnalité.
So we recorded the song, and then I think we just started plugging it. And to see, we wanted to be stars. I mean, it was Miss and P. Diddy, yeah? So we were performing it, and it got some traction. I think Family FM had just started, first Christian station at the time, so we had a place to get it played. I think I got it played on Capital, because remember, Michael Oye, if I'm not wrong at this time, is at Capital FM.
What?
He doesn't use it. Remember, he's in our church. So I think we gave Michael Oye the song, I suspect. And I think he got it plugged for us on Hits or something. But the bigger
And you're the
story...
one who rapped on it.
Yeah. Imagine. I don't even have a copy of that song.
I've looked forward.
I know.
What a million
Now,
suppose.
That's even later.
Okay,
That one,
so-
now then, we were doing music. Now
Okay,
we
let's
were
go.
producers.
So-
So I remember, but the bigger story with Virgin. So Virgin is the first payment I ever got for a project I'd done. Because at Maurice Oyando's was more as an apprentice and learning and stuff. So I think we did Virgin then. But I'll remember there's a story, so Jack Odongo is one who connected me to Bruce Odhiambo, by the way. So what happened, Jack and another guy who passed on, I'm forgetting his name. Actually, his name was John. So there was John and Jack Odongo. Both of them had a connection to Bruce. But when we did Virgin, you know Shiro Gidongo, the activist, at the time was working for, I think it's called Good News Pictures, some old
Yes.
NGO type, somewhere, very fancy property at the time, which I thought was Shags. It is now currently Gigiri. They are still there. Good News Productions, a video house and stuff. They are doing some project on
GNPI.
GNPI.
Prince Macharia. That's even the guy who shot my videos. I shot them there.
No, the founder. It was Mzungu.
But yes.
Yeah, I don't even remember him. But I remember I went for a meeting there. And so I don't know where they had,
brother.
yeah, it's yes. So I don't know where they had the song. I guess on radio, because it was doing its rounds. Then Shiro Gidongo was a program manager. She had it, and she was doing a project on sexuality and safe sex and everything. And those are the themes we were talking about. So basically, the song Virgin was basically there was pressure as teens to be sexually active. So I think Kenya, that was beginning to happen. But we're wondering, why is it I'm off or weird if I've never had sex, if I don't have a girlfriend? So that was the theme of the song. So they loved the song, said we want to use it in our documentary, and I was saying, oh cool man, we're gonna be on TV. Then they said, then here's your contract, and how much do you want to be paid? I said, Then they said, for what? See, for the song rights. Then I said, oh my God,
I remember.
So I went back. So I think we had been offered was it 15,000 or 20,000? So I went back and said, I want 40K. And then I said, I'll give you 40,000. And I gave my list of demands. I said, you can only use it in Kenya. You can now sounding. So I think they realized, these guys know their stuff. So that's the first amount of money we ever made. It took like a year to be paid.
40,000.
But we were paid 40. It was mind blowing. And that's the time I said, okay, there's something happening here. And I remember when we were paid, I went and bought a keyboard from Guido. Kibukosia, a COG keyboard.
COG Trinity?
Yeah,
the first
I think
COGs.
an N64, something like that. I went and bought a keyboard, my first now keyboard. So I went and bought. So remember, I'm building a studio.
Yeah.
So I went and bought a keyboard. Now I had a studio grade keyboard now. I went and kept it in the house. Then he didn't have the manual. Or the manual he had was in German. So now I have to look for the English manual. So I just switched it on and play. I didn't know what to do. Then eventually, internet searching, I found the English version, printed it was like 600 pages. So now I had a professional keyboard. So that was my first
You guys think you're the only guy I know who reads a manual.
Let me tell you, I learned. In fact, it's so terrible. Till today, I'd never unbox a product until I'm done reading the manual. I read page 1 to 10, then I open. And that's how I learned production. Because I would open a mixer, it comes. I just started, and what many people don't know, manuals are so explicit. They tell you, the reason we've done this is because this. the reason you do this is when you're recording vocals, this happens, so you have this. So that's how I learned to get. So people knew me for someone would come and use 3-5 features. I'll tell them, no, but you can
do, yes,
yeah,
yes,
because
yes.
that's how I learned, because there was nowhere to learn. People were winging it, but me used to say no. And remember, my pursuit was always, I want to get that grade of sound.
Yeah.
So that's what started happening. So of course, once I started getting around, hey, there are these 2 young guys born twice. They are doing something.
Because now you're at next level, you've got studio,
yes,
vocals.
yeah. So I'm at next level
and
everything.
beats.
Yeah. So I didn't stay at next level for long, maybe 7-8 months. Then I was introduced to Bruce Odhiambo. So this sometime probably I think in 2000 now. And then when I went to visit Bruce, so this guy John takes me to Bruce.
And now you're not going to Bruce as the kid who was used to see Bruce.
No, really. Actually, this guy John told me, Julian, there's a lot you're doing, but here at next level, you need a bigger studio now. The way nakuona, you need a place you can really do stuff. So it's like he saw it in me. And even Jack Odongo mentioned and said, Julian, you have a skill. You need to be, I think they're telling me you need to be in a space you can be stretched. Because at next level, mainly that studio was more of a personal studio for Maurice. Because Maurice Oyando himself is a musician.
Yep.
So it was like, I would say, his writing studio. So if he's not doing anything, there's not too much happening.
But there are projects that you worked under.
Yeah, the main project
so
I
apart
did
from
there.
Eric
Wainaina, I did there. And it was the first time I ever got a credit, an album credit. So I'm there as one of the recording engineers.
On Sawa.
On Sawa album. So that was major. Then remember when he released it, it became like huge.
Yeah.
And what was happening now, you can imagine, just to give you an example, I'm around 19 now. Eric Wainaina is the hottest thing. And remember, I'd been seeing Eric Wainaina when he was at Five Alive.
Yep.
So me, I followed Five Alive throughout. I was a full groupie. Yeah? Then now that day he pops into the studio. So it was very surreal for me. But more importantly now, when I would go somewhere, what does Eric do? Hey, Jules!
Yeah.
That was major. So Five Alive concerts me used to be backstage. Ooh. Yeah. Me backstage, I'd be there watching them from the side. There's an event, Eric says, where are you sitting? Come, no, Don, he's with me. Because we really bonded.
Yes.
Until today, we've always been very close friends. And I think he's the first celebrity who was not a celebrity. He was just a real person and he's been consistent. And that's one thing I've always admired. And Eric would probably call me up on anything. Tell me where. I'll be there. Because he really impacted me in terms of how you can be as an artist.
And you're the professional. I mean, vocally and where musically he was doing.
Yeah, till today, that project, even that song, Sawa, till today I hear it and it's unbelievable. Then remember, Eric was, we would record stuff, email it to him. He would send some stuff back from the States and I'm like, my God, that's the thing I recorded, but the way it sounds. So you're there like, no, Kwani, what do these guys do, you know? And at the time, I always thought it was something about them, but of course, over the years, you learn what it's about. So from there, what happened is I go to Bruce's studio. So I enter Bruce's studio. Oh my God. So Bruce loved his toys.